So you can type your questions on the chat box, which is there on the right hand side of the panel during and even towards the end of the presentation. Now, what is securities lending and borrowing? SLB, which is securities lending and borrowing, enables lending of idle securities by the investor through clearing corporation of the stock exchange. So if you have a portfolio of stocks in your demat account, and those portfolio of stocks is long term in nature, though long term generally means more than 1 year, but even if you don't plan to utilize those stocks for I'll say even greater than 90 days as an approximate number of days, in case there is an opportunity at the exchange platform of lending that stock from your portfolio and earning a certain amount of lending fee. So SLB is one of the products which you can look at, wherein lenders earn lending fee by lending the securities to the exchange, which is NSE or BSE, and earning a certain amount of extra alpha on their portfolio. The lending fee is paid by the borrower. Now, if you look at the chart which is there on the center of the slide, this can give a wonderful gist about what SLB in a nutshell, what it is all about. So lender, which is the owner of the shares, who has a portfolio in place, which is slightly long-term in nature, and those portfolio has different stocks. Out of those stocks, in case there is an opportunity of lending to the exchange for earning a rental income, so once you do that trade, then shares from your demat account goes to the exchange. From the exchange, it goes to the borrower, which is the first step. The borrower pays the lending fee to the exchange, and this lending fee comes to you as you are the original owner of the security. And on the settlement date, which is the first Thursday of every month, the shares from the borrower goes to the exchange and goes back to the lender or the original owner of the security. So in a nutshell, this is what SLB is about, wherein you as a owner of the security is giving a certain number of shares which are free, and you want to earn a set extra alpha on your portfolio. So you have lent it to the exchange, you want to earn a certain amount of lending fee. So shares from your demat account goes to the exchange, goes to the borrower pays you lending fee in advance. When I say in advance, it means trade date plus one, and the shares comes back to you from the borrower to the exchange back to you on the first Thursday of every month, somewhere close to around 10:30 to 11 a.m. Now, if you as a lender or the original owner of the security do an what is called as an early pay-in. So if you do a trade today of lending, let's say TVS Motors is in your demat account, and if you give the shares and do an early pay-in today, so then there are no margins which are applicable for the lender. Now, if I look at some of the opportunities which are there, so I've just listed 5 different opportunities which have, or the trades which have been done in the SLB platform, which will give you in terms of the features of the product. Though it might look slightly difficult at start, but the RMs, the relationship managers, and the dealers are there to help you out even after the presentation to understand the nuances which are there in terms of the types of trades which happen on the SLB platform. So let's say, for example, on 29th of April 2020, Mindtree, which was trading at 882 rupees, the lending fee was 10 rupees per share for a series which is X6. Now, when I say X6, it means June. So first Thursday of June is 4th of June. And the trade happened when? It happened on 29th of April. So from 29th of April till 4th of June, the number of days comes to 36. So if you have Mindtree in your demat account and you don't plan to sell Mindtree in the near future, then you have an opportunity, or you had an opportunity on 29th of April of lending Mindtree at 10 rupees per share. So if you have 1,000 shares, it comes to 10,000 rupees, which comes to your account on trade date plus one, wherein the series was X6, which is 4th of June. and the number of days comes to 36. Again, on the next day, if you see Mindtree again, it rose from 881 to 915 rupees. And there was an opportunity of a rollover at 18 rupees per share. Now, what does this rollover mean? Let's say, for example, you already had lent Mindtree to the exchange, okay? And you had lent it on the X5 series. Now, X5 is nothing but May. So May series, which is the first Thursday of May, is the expiry date or the settlement date. Now you don't want the shares back on the first Thursday of May. Okay. So what you can do, you also exchange also provides something which is called as a rollover. So you have an option of rolling over that security to the next series, which is X6. So from first Thursday of May, automatically your settlement now becomes the first Thursday of June, which is 4th of June, and it was 18 rupees per share. Now, if you notice here, the number of days reduces to 35. Earlier it was 36. Now, why is that? Because the settlement date remains constant. So 4th of June remains constant. As you are moving towards the settlement date, automatically the number of days starts reducing. So on 29th of April, the number of days was 36. On 30th of April, the number of days is 35, and so on. The next one is CIPLA. So it is not just 35 days or 40 days the opportunity are available. There are multiple opportunities which are available, which are quite short term in nature. So let's take one example of that, which is on 30th of April, CIPLA, which was quoting at 590 rupees in the cash market. The lending fee, if you have CIPLA and if you want to participate in SLB and if you want to lend in SLB, was 6 rupees 40 paise per share. The settlement date is X5, which is 8th of May. So from 30th of April till 8th of May, the number of days comes to 8. So for even a very short duration of 8 days, there are opportunities which are available on the exchange platform, wherein you can earn a certain amount of lending fee. Now, I have, if you notice, the next one on 21st of April is NTPC. Here, on 21st of April, NTPC cash market close is 97 rupees 30 paise, and 30 paise is the lending fee, and the series is 5, which is 8th of May 20. Now, if you notice, just above that, the series was X5, right? Right now, the series is 5. So there's a difference between X5 and 5, which I'll also explain in the next few slides. This is related to AGM, or the voting rights which are there. So in case you don't want the stocks back when there's an AGM, and in case you want the stocks back when there's an AGM. So there's a difference between these two, X5 and 5. So this is also one of the features in terms of the kind of trading which happens on the SLB platform, on the SLB product at the exchange platform. Then the next one is Jubilant Food. It closed at 1,608. The lending fee was 40 rupees per share, and the series is X6. The number of days, as we have seen above, from if the trade happens on 30th of April, the number of days is 35, because the settlement date is 6th of June, which is, sorry, 4th of June, which is constant. And that is how the days are calculated. Yes, so I have also started receiving a few questions. So this particular question I'll just answer in the next few slides, wherein those features are going to get discussed. So you can keep on typing your questions on the question or the group chat box. Now let's look at how in the last 6 months. So what I did was I took SLB monthly data. I downloaded it from the NSE website, and I've taken a few samples from each of the months to just showcase you in terms of the quantity which is there, which has been there outstanding for that particular, or traded for that particular month, the kind of lending fee which was generated, the turnover which happened, what is the weighted average yield, okay, and what are the count in terms of number of trades. Now, this data will also showcase many of the nuances with respect to SLB, how liquid it is, how frequent it is, in terms of how many opportunities are there in an hour, in a day, or how does it all function? Like, do many stocks come, or how many stocks come? So you'll get a decent amount of idea from this particular slide. So if you look at November 2019, I just took two samples. One is IDFC First Bank and the second one is Berger Paint. Now, the quantity which was lent for that particular month on these two stocks is 4.16 crores and approximately 31 lakhs. This is the number of shares. Okay. If you look at the weighted average yield, it comes to 15%. Which is of course in annualized terms. So in absolute terms, it would be as per the that particular absolute number. Uh, and for Berger Paint, it was somewhere close to around annualized yield was close to around 35.72. Now, if you look at the count of trades, okay, for IDFC First it was 3,185. For Berger Paint it was 2,047. So what it also shows, okay, what it also shows is that uh, SLB market is not like a highly traded market like a derivatives or a cash market, but yes, it has a decent amount of things in place in terms of opportunities which are there for the lender and the borrower, and there's a platform which is available, and it can consume a good quantity of shares also in terms of various stocks which I have shown in this particular slide. That is one. Second, which you can also slightly conclude, is always not all stocks are available on the SLB platform. So an RM or a dealer who is servicing you has to be quite vigilant in terms of which stock and where the opportunities are. So we have also done quite a lot of development to help our clients and our relationship managers in terms of servicing this product better. And how we have been doing that is, which I'll show you in the next few slides. Uh, if I look at let's say December, there was Yes Bank, there was TVS Motors. Okay, the quantity of shares for Yes Bank is somewhere close to around 8.5 crores. For TVS Motor, it is 20 lakhs, so it's a pretty huge number. The turnover you can very easily see is some 93 crores. The weighted average yield was 15%, and the count in number of trades is just 1,066. So um, there are trades which are happening. Only thing is, one has to be more vigilant in terms of the stocks which you hold and the opportunity which might there, and then it becomes quite a good a trade both for the lender as well as the borrower. For January 2020, there are two stocks which I picked up randomly. Is one is NMDC and the second one is Infratel. Or let's say in February there was Power Grid and PVR. Or let's say, for example, in March there was RBL Bank and Jubilant Food. So these are just two stocks which I picked up. So in every month, if I go to the full list, there'll be approximately 50 to 60 or sometimes even 100 or 120 stocks which are easily there in terms of the full list which is there at the exchange website. So let's say in April, which was L&T Finance and Ujjivan. So again, the weighted average yield was 29% and 12%. The accounted number of trades was 3,744 and 421. In terms of quantity, L&T House, L&T Finance, somewhere close to around 1 crore, and the Ujjivan was somewhere close to around 18 lakhs. Now, we have looked at what SLB is about. We have looked at in terms of simplistic terms how it operates. We have also understood in terms of opportunities which are there in terms of rollover or different types of series which are there. One is what is called as an X series. One is called as a normal series. So we have also understood from the monthly in terms of number of counts, in terms of trades, in terms of yield, and in terms of quantity or open interest which are there. Now, so now we'll just try understanding this product slightly better. So first is, in India, SLB is an exchange traded product. So it is being traded at NSE and BSE both. The regulations were originally formed by SEBI way back in May 1997, and these regulations have been last modified in January 2018. But in Feb 2008, the volume started picking up, and the reason was because of there was a taxation clarity. So, which I also show you that in terms of the NSE FAQ which is there, and the print screen which I have put in terms of taxation clarity. Then all market participants in the Indian securities market have been permitted to lend and borrow, subject to respective regulatory guidance. So when I say regulatory, so they can be something like market-wide position limit, or they can be something for the bigger institutional investors, and those regulatory guidelines have to be kept in mind. Now, why does one lend? Is to provide an incremental return to the lender or the original owner of the security on a long hold strategy portfolio. So you have a portfolio of stocks which can be 25 lakhs, 1 crore, 2 crore, 5 crore, 10 crore, 50 crore, 100 crores. Now you have an opportunity of participating in the SLB segment and increasing your alpha on your portfolio. So that is why primarily why owners lend. Why do somebody borrow those securities? Because that is also something which is there. So the first is most of them are doing possibly doing what is called as a reverse cash and carry arbitrage, wherein futures are trading at a discount compared to the cash market. So what they do, they want to sell cash and they want to buy futures. Now they don't hold the stock. So what they do, they borrow the stock from the original owner of the security, which can be you as a lender, and then they do this transaction. The second one is to cover short position or to avoid settlement failure. So let's say some of the market participants by mistake or whatever have sold short and have sold extra compared to the stocks which they hold. So now they have an opportunity of going to the SLB platform and borrowing that particular security. Then a physical settlement has also been introduced, as most of you might be aware. So there's a certain amount of borrow demand because of physical settlement also. SLB in India, the way regulations have been built up and where the way exchanges have defined the features of the product, one important thing is protection of rights as an owner in terms of corporate action. So that is also something which is there, and which I'll explain in terms of how corporate action is getting adjusted. And it is a screen-based anonymous trading system. So a dealer at one end, and which is the lender's end, or at the borrower's end. So there is a exchange terminal which is there where they have to punch in the orders, and that is how the trade happens. Now, a slight gist about the SLB market or the international markets. The value of loans, you'll be surprised to know, globally is a huge amount, some 1.9 trillion euros over a 6-month period, which was ending at 31st December 2017. So I picked this up from a report of ISLA, which was published on 1st of March 2018. So you can very easily see how big this market is internationally. Though in India, we are quite minuscule in terms of numbers, in terms of the volume which is happening on the Indian exchanges. This is also something which I've just to showcase, let's say SGX or Singapore, where our head office is. So there also they do securities lending and borrowing, and they follow, for in case some of you are interested, they follow a structure which is called as a custodian. So the custodians are holder of the securities out there, whereas out here it is slightly different. So there's a different structure. Possibly they can be a different structure internationally, but in India, the good thing is that when you participate in SLB, securities lending and borrowing, in the Indian market space, your counterparty is the exchange, which is NSE or BSE or their clearing subsidiaries. Now, supposing you have decided to participate and there are stocks in your portfolio. So first we'll just try to understand in terms of margins. And why is this important? Because this will also help you understand how is exchange managing the risk when you're giving the stocks, your stocks to the exchange, when you're participating in the SLB segment. So first I'll talk about the lenders. Let's say you are a lender, you are the owner of the security, you have participated in the SLB platform, and let's say you have lent TVS Motors as the stocks which you hold in your portfolio. So when you do that, if you do an early pay, you don't have to pay any margin. But just in case you don't do an early pay, so yes, then there is a 25% of the lending price, which means the 25% of the exposure of the stocks which you have lent. Okay, and also the mark to market which has to be paid towards the end of the day on the trade date, just in case you don't do an early pay. And margins are dropped post settlement on T plus none. So why I'm stressing this point number two out here. So for most of, or let's say majority of the investors who are there at the SLB platform and Phillip Capital, we follow the policy of early pay-in, because then it becomes easier for the owner of the security to participate in the SLB segment, because once the trade is done and if the stock is given as an early pay-in, so there are no margins or any other things which has to be done by the lender of the security. Now, if I go to the borrower side, uh, when somebody borrows from the exchange, okay, exchange from them collects 100% of the lending fee. The lending fee is the interest of the stocks which you have given. Then on T plus one, they also collect 100% of lending price, which is the exposure of the stock. Okay, so let's say for example you have lent 10 lakhs worth of security. Okay, so on T plus one, they exchange from the borrower takes 10 lakhs plus VAR plus ELM and also mark to market at the end of the day. So these all is being collected by the exchange, and mark to market is happening daily. So let's say for example, if you have done lending today for next 35 days, so today a borrower has to pay lending fee, tomorrow a borrower has to pay 100% of the lending price plus VAR plus ELM. So this all comes close to around, it depends on stock to stock, come close to around approximately 1.25 times. For a 10 lakh worth of security, it comes to approximately 12.5 lakhs. And also mark to market. So every day for the next 35 days, if your stocks keeps on going up, okay, even mark to market has to be paid by the borrower. So let's say at the end of the settlement, which is the first Thursday, 35 days hence, if your stocks from 10 lakh rupees doubles to 20 lakh rupees, so exchange has to collect 100% of the lending price plus VAR plus ELM and even the mark to market. That is the step up in the price of the stock which has happened. So this is how exchange is managing the margins at the exchange platform from the borrowers. Now, why is that important? Which will help us understand from the SLB clearing process flow which is there. Though some of the writings are, some of the font is slightly smaller because of the size of the content which is there, but I'll just explain it. And in case any of the points you are not able to understand, you can type it on the Zoom group chat which is there. So on T day, let's say you have lent 10 lakhs worth of security to the exchange. Okay, let's say it is Infosys, for example, or TCS, or Reliance, or Kotak Bank, or HDFC Bank. Okay, now 10 lakhs worth of security is what you have lent. Now, once you have lent that, a borrower has borrowed that security from the exchange. So for you as a lender, your counterparty is the exchange, which is NSE. Then on T plus one, you get your lending fee. So if you look at T plus one, which is written, there's point number two. So lending fee you get in advance. The payout is somewhere close to around 11:30 a.m. Okay, and they have even written in. So this is from the exchange NSE presentation, which I've taken this particular slide. So if you see, they have also written even in case of default of the borrower, then also lending fee is paid by 11:30 a.m. So that is also what is being taken care by the NSE Clearing Limited. Then on the right hand side, borrower, as I've already explained, they have to give all the margins which is there. So for a 10 lakh worth of security, they have, let's say exchange has collected approximately 12.5 lakhs as the margins. Okay, plus any mark to market which is there. Now we come to the first Thursday. So the reverse leg day is the first Thursday of every series. Okay. So first Thursday of the month, which is the reverse leg. So you should get your stock somewhere close to around 10:30 to 11 a.m. Okay. But let's say due to any reason whatsoever, the securities don't come to the NSE clearing limited. Okay. So then what happens? So exchange on first Thursday, let's say it is 4th of June. The stocks, your 10 lakhs of stocks, which has now increased to 20 lakhs worth of stocks. Okay, and the requisite margin which the borrower has given has now increased to approximately 25 to 26 lakhs, which is lying with the exchange platform. Now, or the clearing or the NSE clearing or BSE. So. If on the first Thursday your stocks initially 10 lakhs, now 20 lakhs after a month, the stocks don't come into to the exchange. So then exchange cannot give you the stock on the reverse leg day. So what they do, they will first go to what is called as an auction market. The auction market, if you see, starts at 2 p.m. on the exchange platform. So exchange will utilize the collateral or the margins which they have collected from the borrower and go to what is called as an auction market and try to get those stocks for you. So that is step one. But just in case exchange is not able to get you those stocks. Okay. So then on Friday, which is the next day of Thursday, exchange is going to give you a closeout amount. So let's say they have a formula for that, but for ease of understanding, one can also say that it is the Thursday close multiplied by the 1.25 times. So your initially 10 lakhs worth of stock, which became 20 lakhs after a month on the settlement day, which is 4th of June. So on Friday, in case the stocks don't come to you, it will first go to auction, and then on Friday, even if it doesn't come on auction, then the exchange will give you 20 lakhs multiplied by 1.25, which comes to 25 lakhs. Now herein there is a certain amount of downside. So I can see in my group chat there are questions which have been put. What are the risks associated with lending and borrowing? So this is where one of the risks which lies is that since there's a sale which has happened outside the exchange platform, so it's an off market sale which has happened. So henceforth there is a component of taxation which can be there. Okay. So there are two ways in which the taxation, though a tax consultant is an expert who can point out, but from our experience there are two ways. One is with indexation and the other is without indexation, as to how the taxation will play out in case you get an amount which is a closeout amount, which is 1.25 times of the value of the security on the Thursday's close. Now we'll just try and understand a few product specifications. So SLB, there are 12 monthly contracts which are available. The trade timing is from 9:15 till 5 p.m. But from our experience, we have seen the most of the volume is happening till 3:30 p.m. only. And the reason is simple, because the derivatives market for doing that unda badla or reverse cash and carry arbitrage, the derivatives market is functional till 3:30. So that is why most of the volume is happening till then only. More than 300 securities one can participate. All derivative FNO stocks, eligible non-FNO stocks, or something like oil or DMART have also participated. And there are ETFs. So let's say CPSE ETF can also participate and have participated in the past. The type of order is lend, borrow, recall, repay, and rollover. So you have lent 10 lakhs worth of stock. Let's say it is 1,000 quantity. You want 500 shares back. So you can even recall your security. So that is also possible in the SLB product or the exchange traded SLB product, which is there in India. The quotation in the exchange platform is lending fee per share. So basically, it's like Ujjivan, you have to quote a number. So let's say 20 rupees per share or 25 rupees per share. That is how the quoting happens. There are some position limits which are there. For a normal retail investor, these are quite huge numbers. But in case somebody is interested in knowing, so there's something which is called as a market-wide position limit, which is 10% of the shares held by non-promoters in the security. And the client level comes to 1% of that market wide position limit. So this is the quantity which any client can lend. Then there are different series which are available for trading. So one is in case you don't want your stock back in case there's an AGM or voting rights. So then there is an X series, and in case you want the stock back, so there's a normal series which is there. So both the series are there. As I showed you in the first slide, one was 5 and the other is X5. Then the reverse leg is first Thursday of every month. So let's say 4th of June or 2nd of July is the reverse leg for June series and July series. And it is 1 week after the equity derivatives expiry. The settlement is a gross basis. The last trade date for any series is 3 days prior to the settlement date. So what it means, let's say I showed you one of the trades which had number of days equal to 8, right? So there is the last trade date is 3 days. So if 4th of June is the settlement date, so 3 days prior is when you can trade for that particular series, which is 4th June. After that, the trading cannot be done. You have to compulsory trade on or lend on the 2nd of July, which is the July series. Rollover can be done up to 1 year. Now, there was a question which was asked in the group chat, which was about the corporate action treatment. So this is how it works out. In case of dividend, okay, so you have lent your security, there's a dividend which comes. So in case of dividend, that amount is collected from the borrower and paid out to the lender on the book closure start date by the exchange itself. So that is in case of dividend. In case of stock split, lenders receive the revised quantity of shares in the reverse leg settlement. So you have given 1,000 shares, face value 10 becomes 1, so you get back 10,000 shares on the reverse leg day, which is the first Thursday of every month. Any other corporate action which includes rights, bonus, the open transaction is foreclosed on the X date. And just in case there is a lending fee which has to be given back on a pro rata basis. So that is in terms of corporate action treatment. And the AGM and the EGM option, which is related to the X series, which is the new series, or the normal series, which was the old series. Let's say X5 and 5. Now I come to SLB in terms of taxation. So securities transaction tax (STT) is not applicable. That is one. SEBI turnover tax is also not applicable. In case of closeout, it would come under the purview of the capital gains tax rules. So which is what I explained. So let's say the stocks don't come in on the first Thursday, so then it goes in for auction. Even if it doesn't come in auction, so we are just talking about some 300 or 350 or 400 most liquid securities traded on the exchange platform. Even if it doesn't come in auction, so then on Friday you will get a closeout amount, but this closeout amount can come under capital gains tax rule. Then borrower, though it is related to borrower, has to pay a GST on the of 80% on the lending fee. So let's say, for example, a trade has happened at 10 rupees. So you as lender has earned 10 rupees by lending one particular share. A borrower has paid those 10 bucks and also paid a GST of 18% on that. Now, this is a very important question, which is transaction in SLB not regarded as a transfer. So I put the print screen of the NSE SLB FAQ, which is there, which helps answer this particular query well. Is that will lending or borrowing of securities under the security lending scheme will amount to transfer under clause 47 of section 2 of the Income Tax Act in the hands of the lender? As per the clarification from Income Tax Wide Circular 2/2008 dated 22nd Feb 2008. So in February 2008 is when this taxation clarity came into place and the volume started picking up in the SLB segment. Transaction done in SLB shall not be regarded as a transfer. And for further details, you can refer to this particular circular. Exchange, first NSE and now BSE also, has done a wonderful work in terms of creating a watch list for all the investors. So you can very easily go to the NSE website, and there if you filter, so there's a filter out here. I filtered it for June series, June 2020. So you can get all the stocks and how much is the borrower. So obviously this was when the market was closed, so you will see some quotes which are haywire. But just to give you a glimpse, so let's say there's Nestle Food. So there's Nestle Industry. So there's a offer which is $80. The LTP is $80, and then there's annualized yield and the volume. So everything is on this particular page. So HDFC, AMC, IRCTC, Escorts, PEL, Shriram Transport Finance, LIC Housing Finance, Bharti Airtel, TVS Motors, Muthoot Finance, Oro Pharma, Siemens. So these are all the stocks which, if you hold in your Demat account, and if you want to participate in the SLB segment, you can very easily do through the exchange platform which is there. This is the exchange turnover. Now you can see compared to the international market, in India it is quite minuscule a number. So at the NSE, the turnover is somewhere close to around 2,500 crore, which is happening every month, and at BSE somewhere close to around 700 crores, which is happening every month. This is a confirmation sample confirmation which comes to you from Phillip Capital at the end of the day. So you get the kind of security, the quantity, the lending fee, and any other charges which might be there. So everything is all in this particular confirmation. Now, a few things except the exchange which we have done at our end. So the first thing which we have done is if you tell us your holdings, okay. So what I can do, we have built a back testing module wherein we are maintaining the BHAF copies every day, and we have built a software wherein it just takes me a few minutes to upload your portfolio and get an output in terms of, let's say, if you have participated in the last 1 year, 2 year, or 3 years, what is the kind of lending fee which you would have generated, okay, is what this table shows. And herein what I assume is I don't go for annualized yield which is like 10%, 20%, and 40%. I just assume that let's say for example 5% annualized yield, okay, I see, and I just hit the trade, okay. So then how much is the lending fee which can be generated in your portfolio? So we go by that. We don't go for the higher spikes or the higher yields. We just go for five, just greater than equal to 5%. First opportunity, hit the trade. Don't wait for, so that is what we do. And just to give you a glimpse in terms of the lending fee which your portfolio could have generated, that is one. Second is what we have done is we have built alert in place wherein, let's say, because since it is not a very highly vibrant and very liquid market compared to a derivatives and a cash market, so we have built a system wherein the stocks which are lying in your demat account at Phillip Capital with NSDL or CDSL, so we have built a software wherein that stock, and in case there's an opportunity on the exchange platform, so an alert is generated for the relationship manager, such that he can intimate you about the opportunity, and then you can very easily take a call whether to lend at that particular price or at a higher price. So that is also something which we have done. Then at our back office also, what we have done is when you lend, the stocks leave your demat account, so it is written SLB settlement and so on, such that when your CA looks at the statement at the end of the year, he or she can easily identify which of them are SLB transaction and which are your buy and sell transaction. So that is also something which we have done at our end. Now, I have come to the end of my presentation. So I'll wait for a minute or two, and then I'll start addressing the questions which are there. Though there are quite a few questions which are here, which I may not have addressed during the presentation, so I'll also address those. So you can type your questions on the Zoom group chat which is there. So I'll take the first question. One is there any fees being charged by Phillip Capital or by the exchange? Okay, so first is as I've emphasized, SEBI has waived off its charges. Exchange used to NSE specifically used to charge a certain amount of exchange fee, which was close to around 2.5% of the lending fee. But to my knowledge, that has been waived off last year as well as this year. Or there is no circular of NSE again charging that. Uh, and in terms of Phillip Capital, yes, Phillip Capital, there is a brokerage being charged. Primarily, most of them have the current clients. Most of them opted for a percentage of lending fee as the commissions, and so there is no STT. There is just a percentage of, let's say, for example, percentage of lending fee as commissions, and there is a GST component on that, and there's a very small component of stamp duty. And for since the commercials are price sensitive and the portfolio sensitive, so yes, it depends. It may vary from client to client. So the RM and the salesperson are the best one to give you the exact fees which are being charged by Phillip Capital. Then I have touched upon the corporate action part, which includes dividend. So dividend, in case your stocks are out on the SLB platform to the exchange, so exchange will debit the borrower and credit the lender in terms of dividend. So that I have already emphasized. Then which are the scripts which are to be lended? So yes, it is being given as a circular every month. So every month exchange comes out with a circular in terms of the stocks which can participate. So FNO stocks are always there, and there are rest of them are non-FNO stocks. So yes, you can know well in advance which are the stocks which are available for lending. Then there was again a question about the corporate action, which I have explained. Please explain how to pick the list from NSE India. Okay, so I've shown you the website. So if you go to NSE India, okay, or and then you go to the SLB page, there's a live market which is there. So if you go to that particular page, you can easily then you'll have to select the series, which is settlement. So first is the normal series, and the second one is a new series. So they have named it as series A and B also, and as per the new website which is there. So those two series are there. Then there are rollover series also. So you can select that also in case you want to roll over your stocks. And still, if you're not able to do it, so after the presentation, please get in touch with your relationship manager or your salesperson. They will be able to even show you how to do that. So it is at the NSA India page which is there. Then there is a question about who are the borrowers. So borrowers are primarily what from market sources I've learned that some, like many of them, are basically prop desk of some other broking houses. So what they are doing is they put a certain amount of collateral. Now they want to generate a certain amount of alpha on that collateral, is where that borrowing is happening. Though of course there can be certain amount of clients who are also doing that. And some of the borrowers will also be in terms of physical settlement which is there, as well as some of the borrowers will also be for with respect to the short sale of stocks which happens. So these are primarily who are the borrowers in the SLB platform. So then there's a question about what are the risks associated with lending and borrowing. So first is obviously since exchange is the central, where the stocks are. So there is where one that entity exchange, and the second is in terms of risk is what I can visualize is, let's say you have lend your stocks for June series, which is X6. Okay, 4th of June is the settlement date. Today you have done that trade, and on 4th of June at 10:30 a.m. the stocks don't come back to your demat account. It goes in for auction. In case it comes in auction, then you get that stock on Friday. But just in case auction maybe stock exchange is not able to get, then you will be getting a closeout amount. Now, when you get a closeout amount, there is a chance, there is a very remote chance, though we haven't seen it till now, but there is a very remote chance that the taxation can come to a certain amount of play there. Then yes, so it's the same question wherein borrower is not able to cover up and return the shares. See, the way they have defined, so is that they have structured this product that the expiry date of derivatives happens on the last Thursday of every month, and the settlement of SLB is 1 week after that. So automatically, when the positions get squared up on the last Thursday of every month, so that is what is one of the questions that they get squared up, and then after a week, so there's enough time for the stock to come to the borrower's demat account, and the borrowers can easily pay it out to the lender. Now, what is the risk if now this is a very good question. What is the risk if the broker goes bankrupt and closes business? What happens to the securities lend if there is yes bank type of scenario where securities are freezed? So let's just visualize that. Today you have lent, let's say, Kotak Bank at a certain amount in the market, or sorry, in the exchange platform. Now stocks are in your were you in your demat account today morning. Today you did an early pay in, and the stock from your demat account went to the exchange, right? Now let's say 5 days hence there is a broker goes bankrupt and closes business. So where are the stocks? The stocks are lying with the exchange. Okay. So I hope that addresses this particular question, that what are the risks in case a default happens in case of an entity. Then do we have to give any money while lending? What if we don't get our shares back? So first is when you lend, you have to give your shares and you will be getting money in terms of lending fee. Uh, and can we lend less number of shares? Yes, you can even do this transaction by lending one single share. So that is the minimum lot size in case of SLB. And how is income is tax? So generally, though you have to consult your income tax advisor or consultant, but from our sources, whatever we have seen, like in fixed deposit interest, so here also income is clubbed into other income, and that is how it is taxed. Then we have got about back test is excellent. Okay, thank you. What are so brokerage charges will be given by the respective RMs or the salesperson. Lending rate is based on demand and supply. But the lending rate you can also visualize with respect to what is the spread between the cash and the futures. So futures are trading at a discount. So whatever that spread is can also give you a certain amount of idea. Uh, So there are quite many questions which are there, and we are coming to the end of our presentation. So I'll just see in case I'm not able to answer some of the questions, you can please post it to your relationship manager or the salesperson, and we will also try to answer those even after this presentation. So yes, rollover is something which you can do. That is one. Okay. Then there's a question about how one can participate in SLB. So you have to just open your account. So your SLB and the cash market account is opened simultaneously. And then once you transfer your stocks to Phillip Capital Demat, preferably because here the settlement is T+1. And it is always better to be on the early pay-in of shares. So once you transfer those stocks in Phillip Capital Demat account, you can start participating in the SLB segment. There's a question about GST deduction. So this I would request you to please consult your CA, or your taxation advisor, and we can help with respect to whatever documents or the product features or exchange circulars which are there. We can help your CA in addressing this question, whether the GST can be claimed. But GST is always paid by the borrower and not the lender. So if you just plan to lend, then GST is something which you don't have to look at. So again, that question has come up is the scenario in case of default. So let's say, I'll just repeat that your stocks are either lying in the demat account or depository, and which is with NSDL or CDSL, or your stocks are with the exchange. So that is how the scenario is. MFs, yes, mutual fund can also register for the SLB segment. Okay. Yes, so there are a few. I think I have missed out a few questions, but since we are coming to the end of our presentation, to the time slot, so I would request, in case I have missed out any, we can take it further offline in a separate session of one-to-one with your relationship manager or your salesperson, and try to address those queries. And I hope this session has been informative, because it's a SLB is one of, if I just put it in a nutshell, if you have a long-term portfolio, there's a chance of lending those stocks of your portfolio where your counterparty is the exchange, which is NSE or BSE, and earn a certain amount of lending fee on, and a certain amount of alpha can be generated on your portfolio returns. So that is how one can look at the SLB platform, where your counterparty is the exchange and it is being regulated by SEBI. So I thank you all once again for joining this session on securities lending and borrowing.